everyone. Today's writerly tip video is all about how to write redemption arcs. Now, redemption arcs is a broad umbrella term for villains or anti-heroes that start off sketchy or just plain bad, then find their redemption and become good. The best explanation for these broad redemption arcs is from Chris Winkle from mythcreants.com. I like that. That's a good one. About redemption arcs. I'll link that article in the description box below. So Chris breaks down the 3 redemption arcs. First are the sacrifice arcs. A character makes a heroic death for the greater good. Number 2 is the temptation arc. Characters who go back and forth on whether or not they want to be good before siding with good in the end. And number 3, the forgiveness arc, used for former villains or anti-heroes that previously switched and now are good. Best example is Furiosa, I probably pronounced her name right, in the latest Mad Max. So Chris also pairs up types of characters with these 3 arcs because they can be a little difficult to remember. And then you're thinking about examples, and there's not actually too many redemption arcs that I've actually noticed, so it's good that I read this over in a few other articles because I was thinking there's actually not that many redemption arcs that are pretty obvious. But the best one for the sacrifice arc is Darth Vader at the end, and then for the temptation arc it is Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender and Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer / Angel. And then, as I said, for the forgiveness arc, that is Furiosa in the latest Mad Max movie. So whichever one of those examples you find your character in, one of those 3 is the redemption arc for you. I much prefer the temptation arcs because I love me some Zuko and some Spike, and I think they're the most relatable. And Zuko and Spike are some of the best villain to team good that we know of. I mean, comment with your thoughts, but I'm gonna say Zuko and Spike, yes, greatest redemption arcs of all time. So to write legitimately good redemption arcs, you have to show us a few things first. Most importantly is planting a seed or multiple seeds of doubt in your villain or anti-hero. Tell us and show us, mainly show us, why your villain is the way he or she is. Is it out of revenge, mourning, want for power, money, glory, something like that? But it needs to be made clear, and it does need to be simple. Then you need to shake up, like really shake up your life with good outside influences or a big positive or negative change to them or someone they know that brings doubt and remorse into their psyche and makes them question themselves and their actions, their choices, and their bad guy girl role in this arc or in their life. Then subtly shift their loyalty from bad to good, which brings us into the next phase, the redemption arc itself. Chris states there's multiple ways to take your villain or anti-hero on this redemption arc. Number 1, the villain switches to good for selfish reasons, for money, power, revenge, convenience, so on. Number 2, the villain, after being on team good for a while, now dislikes it and is unhappy because good hates your character. There's a sort of culture shock. Evil still has a hold on them for whatever reason. Their evil master has come back into the picture, whatever it may be. Number 3, the villain goes back to evil because of their evil master. Money, power, glory, so on and so forth. Number 4, now that team bad has gone back. They don't like it, and they miss team good even if they weren't 100% nice or open to team bad. Everything is the same, and now the bad character has to question themselves. Number 5, the last number. After all that, the bad guy turns into a hero, and the redemption arc finally moves forward. You can leave out some of the given steps, or keep all of them, but the redemption arc must be clear. The redemption arc for Zuko is clear. He does go back and forth sometimes, but it takes a very distinct event for him to change to good, and then his redemption arc happens and is progressing throughout the rest of the series. The redemption arc in Limbo is still a redemption arc because they're on that path, but they're not completely on the redemption arc path, so keep that in mind. So now that your villain or anti-hero is on Team Good, they must deal with guilt, shame, a mix of negative emotions like anger, depression, anxiety. They must also face the thing or person that made them evil if that is present, or at least fight it in some way. The hero should always be involved in the redemption arc, and the villain by the middle or end of a book or series must stop evil in whatever form it takes in your story at any cost, even if it's their life, which is the sacrifice arc, and the sacrifice arc is really only to be used for someone that's disgustingly horrible. The level of sacrifice must match the villain's evilness. Also note that Team Good shouldn't just open their arms for Team Bad, because depending on your bad guy or girl, they could be abusers in whichever form that is, and that means that the villain has to work even more to get Team Good on their side. And if it's in a group, like 3 or 4 whatever people in Team Good, and the villain comes in, not all of them have to accept Team Bad, which is very important to note. If they all accept Team Redemption arc, is that realistic? Because at least one of them is going to have a problem with this villain or anti-hero that's changing their ways because of their past. Like, maybe that villain killed one character's cousin. Are they going to immediately forgive that villain or anti-hero? No, it's going to take a lot for Team Redemption arc to get on board, and they might not even be forgiven, which will be brought up momentarily. They have to work through the redemption arc until at least one or a few of the Team Good accepts them. And for Zuko, it was all of the gang. For Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it was Buffy that really fully accepted Spike, and the other ones tolerated him. So there's your difference. You can have that, but because Buffy is so powerful, the others kind of followed. Though they did voice their concerns, a lot of the time they weren't violent towards Spike because Buffy is the leader. So if you have a strong leader of Team Good that can overcome a group of 6 people that don't like this character turned good. So if there's no grand sacrifice like killing themselves, Team Redemption arc continues on trying to gain favor with Team Good. The villain turned good must suffer remorse, wants to help, wallow and grieve, but ultimately finds their way with the heroes in whatever form you choose. So fully a hero now, still in Redemption arc, but we're heroes. We're not going back to bad. The villain turned hero knows their wrongs and feels the need to beg for forgiveness and show Team Good that they have changed by any means necessary. No payments, no praise, no comfort in their acts of good. It is completely selfless. This can go on for a very long time depending on the villain's past. Like I said, if this villain killed one of Team Good's cousins, or say a vampire and killed in their long span of 500 years, say 10,000 people, yeah, it's gonna take a while. That villain needs to keep going to become a full-fledged hero. And finally, the villain or anti-hero turned good has proven their worth, is finally forgiven at the very end. That doesn't mean that they're fully done with their work, but the redemption arc is finished. No matter the arc, all heroes are forgiven in some way or another. Like I said, Spike was forgiven by Buffy, and that was it. And Katara, Toph, and Sokka forgave Zuko, and that was fine. That means their redemption arcs are finalized, but they still need to continue on to prove themselves more because of their horrible past. The team redemption arc turned hero must in some way forgive themselves or work towards forgiving themselves in whatever that may be. Some might save the city with the heroes and decides to go to, say, a monastery for X amount of years to try and forgive themselves, or they continue to do good with team good in whatever means necessary with no payments, no comfort, no praise. They might even go to therapy if you're in a contemporary setting. They might turn to the lead hero for help in whatever means you wish. There's many possibilities, but the villain turned hero needs to, in some form, forgive or begin to forgive. And that could also be true for the team good. You can have one or two or all of them that totally forgive and are moving on with their lives, and there may be some that have not forgiven the villain for their past or just beginning to. All of those are perfectly acceptable because it is what real life looks like. You have some people that will forgive, you will have some people that will not, and you have some that are still in the middle trying to go in either direction, or they're still on a path to forgiveness. We want to write something as realistic as possible, even if they're elves and magic and wizards and centaurs and whatever other mythical creatures there are. It needs to be a well-established redemption arc for this character, even if the character is a mythical creature. Because people really want to see these redemption arcs in a personified form if your character is not human. Because as readers and even as writers, we want to relate to the story, and that means that not all villains can stay villainous. Because people change and they work on themselves and eventually become heroes, or at least team good, by the end of their very long process of their own redemption arc. Thank you so much for watching my how to write redemption arcs. If you like what you just saw, please comment, like, and subscribe, and share with all your writerly friends. And if you want to get to know me or my writing, all of that information is in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great writing day. Bye!